North Korean troops fighting against Ukrainian forces are taking casualties in Russia's Kursk Oblast, President Volodymyr Zelensky said. Currently, 11,000 North Korean soldiers are present on Russian territory near the Ukrainian border, specifically in Kursk Oblast, he said at a press conference at the European Political Community Summit in Budapest. Some of these troops have already taken part in combat operations against Ukrainian forces, and there are already casualties. Zelensky did not provide further information on the number of casualties. Kursk Oblast has seen heavy battles since Ukraine launched a cross-border offensive in early August. Moscow has deployed North Korean troops there to reinforce lines there, while its most experienced units continue advancing in Ukraine's east. Ukraine's Defense Minister Rustem Umerov confirmed that the first clashes between the Ukrainian armed forces and North Korean soldiers had already taken place. Zelensky has previously said that if Ukraine had permission to use Western long-range weapons on Russian territory, it could preemptively target every camp in Russia where North Korean troops are gathering. Speaking on November 7th, he reiterated his call. "We are now issuing a warning and believe that if political pressure and corresponding weapons are not applied to Russia, the next step could be a much larger deployment of North Korean forces," he said. Putin always observes the world's reaction. In my view, the response so far has been insufficient. To date, international responses to North Korean troops joining Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine have been limited to statements and condemnation. Foreign ministers of the Group of Seven and 3 key allies expressed grave concerns over North Korea's military deployment in Russia and are working on a coordinated response, according to a joint statement. Besides the G7 members, including the US, Japan, Italy, the UK, Germany, France, Canada, and the High Representative of the European Union, the statement was also signed by South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. Several thousands of DPRK troops have been deployed to Russia. The DPRK's direct support for Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, besides showing Russia's desperate efforts to compensate its losses, would mark a dangerous expansion of the conflict, with serious consequences for European and Indo-Pacific peace and security, the statement read. It would be a further breach of international law, including the most fundamental principles of the UN Charter. The ministers condemned in the strongest possible terms the deepening of the military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang, including Russia's unlawful procurement of North Korean ballistic missiles. Ukrainian soldiers from the 79th Separate Airborne Assault Brigade destroy Russian armored vehicles in the Kharkiv direction. Cheap drones are proving to be highly effective in Ukraine, where they destroy costly Russian military equipment. These affordable UAVs use precision strikes and swarm tactics, turning the cost-benefit scale upside down and showcasing how modern warfare is evolving. This has forced the Russian military to allocate significant resources for counter-drone measures, straining their budget and complicating operations. The success of low-cost drones highlights how asymmetric warfare tactics can disrupt even the most well-equipped armies. And we have this hilarious video with translation now. At first, the Russian so-called war correspondent can't figure out what tank it is, mistakes it for a leopard, and happily takes selfies near it. And only then someone says that the tank is in fact Russian. We can also see that their war correspondents have the same level of competence as their army, as they can't distinguish a Russian tank from a Western one at first glance.
Так, это танчик подорвавшись. Сходу так и не определишь, правда, что за полк. Нормальная защита. Смотри, какая у него защита, братан. У него кирпичи защита были. Да, вот такую ямочку врывает. Противокумулятивный мангал был. Офигеть, он просто как чупа-чуп споткнулся в землю. Сложно представить, что такую машину можно так просто уничтожить. что за танк?
Сколько такой? Ну да, он какая-то своя несвойственная. Лидерский танк 100%, потому что башня вообще какая-то другая.
Я вот думаю, это не леопард случайно?
Не-не-не, как-то наши.
Бля, башня вообще не свойственная. Я не знаю таких танков у нас.
Армата не такая?
Блять, странная хуйня. Чё это, блядь? Блядь. Какая-то это не наша хуйня.
90, скажу, это 90.
Ты думаешь? Маркировка наша, блядь, да.
Это наш, это 90,
Это 90 какие-то?
90.
А что вот это за хуйня?
А, да, 90. Это вот как раз отвод от Тура.
А, да?
Да, это 90.
Ебать.
Desertion is considered treason, but in this context, it is the only right choice. Russian deserter Alexander calls on Russians to refuse to participate in the war against Ukraine.
4 февраля мы приехали в Крым на военное учение. 24 февраля произошло вторжение. Моя бригада в полном составе, включая меня, принимала участие в этом вторжении. Понятно, что ты в ближайшем будущем вряд ли вернешься в Россию, но это гораздо лучше, чем убивать и быть убитым. Дезертирство считается предательством, но в данном контексте это единственный правильный выбор.